Come on. I'm glad you're my experimental pancake that I figured out how to let into the room. Oh, somebody
Can
else.
you hear me?
I can now.
I can't hear you.
Oh, really? Uh, uh,
Can you hear me now? Hello.
Can't hear anything.
Lisa, do you want to call Sarah or should I?
I'll call her.
Okay. There she is. Thank you.
Hmm.
I don't know what to tell you.
Hi, Ken.
How many people are on this
Try
committee?
calling you on your phone to get the sound.
Can't hear the sound?
Is
I
that,
can hear people.
I can hear people.
I can too, but
Okay, now I can hear somebody. Can anybody hear me?
yes,
Yeah,
That is the
Yay.
weirdest thing. I had the microphone. I started out using the earbuds. It was paired. I could hear Ken, he
Yeah.
could hear me. I'm not muted. Then I turned off the Bluetooth, but you still couldn't hear me. Oh, well, we figured out a way around it. 3 people in the waiting room. How do I let them in? Sorry, you guys, this is my first time doing this.
don't worry.
fine.
We're good.
Well, yes, we know.
Now the thing at the waiting room, the names used to be up there and I could click to say admit them. Now that's gone away.
They changed this Zoom and it's awful. I have the same problem. They've made it so
They're making it
complicated.
Oh, here it
harder.
is. Here it is. They moved it over to the sidebar.
Yeah.
Okay.
They did more than that,
Great.
actually.
Okay. All right. Sorry, guys.
Looks good.
All right. Sorry, guys.
Hey,
I had,
sounds all right.
yeah, I had some technical difficulties where I wasn't muted, but nobody could hear me. So I've gone old school with headphones. All right, we're cooking with gas now. So there's Michael and Susan and Laura and Robert and Ken and me and all of our guests. I think that's everybody.
We're missing Aaron.
Who?
Aaron,
Erin was, I know, recovering from
Oh, she's not coming.
She said she
She's-
may not be able to come.
Yeah, she was having a medical procedure and said she might still be loopy on the anesthetic. And so that's why we had it transferred into my not so capable hands
You're
technologically.
doing great.
You did
Uh,
fine.
Okay, so I think we're all here. Shall we call the meeting to order? And in attendance, we have Susan Paintner, Michael Kolber, Robert Wolf, Bob Wolf, Laura Rickey, Ken Panza, and our many guests. Did everybody get a chance to read the meeting minutes from last week? Yes, do I have a motion to approve those minutes? Susan, you're muted.
I move to approve the minutes.
Thank you. Do
I
I have a
second.
Thank you very much. Okay, so we don't have any announcements or correspondence this evening, but we do have a presentation on concerned citizens against plastic pollution. And I don't know if you guys are aware, this was actually something that the town actually put into motion pre-COVID, and then COVID hit and it kind of fell off the table. So we're going to try to get that back going. Joe, are you the person who's going to be speaking to us about this?
No, I'm going to introduce Sarah Mecklin, who is superior when it comes to legislation. I
don't-
wanted to, she's been going to Albany. Hi, Susan. I'm so glad you're there. Susan's in my life. I just wanted to just add a little something to what was just said about the original resolution. A while back, pre-COVID, a resolution was passed by the town board, which supported single use plastics, and was kind of, it didn't have a lot of teeth, and
Okay.
it went nowhere. And we're in working with the WEC, and I did speak to Aaron, that we would try to get a better resolution, which corresponds to what's happened now in the world with plastics and the legislation and people's concerns and the health issues. So it's a large parcel, and it's quite different from the time that it was in, in 2020, 2021 even. So
Okay.
thank you for letting us talk with you, and we're
Yeah.
thrilled because this connection with the WC has been very important to us, and we love exhibiting at Earth Day, and we've got something to talk about, which we think you can be very excited about and help
Fabulous.
the environment. So,
Okay.
Sarah,
Sarah?
Well, Joe, do you want to tell a little more about our group?
sure, okay, sure,
Or,
okay. If we have the time.
Yeah, we have time.
Okay, we're citizens, CCAPP, Citizens Concerned About Plastic Pollution. Our members currently come from Woodstock, Saugerties, Kingston, and once in a while from Hurley. The member of Hurley is now town supervisor, so he's looking for a replacement. We have a wonderful website, ccapp.earth. We are, like you guys, a group of concerned citizens. We do a lot of things for a very small group. We do tabling at events. We, as an affiliate of Beyond Plastics, Judith Enk's group, a number of our members have taken the course. We are deeply involved in what they are teaching us and what we can do as a separate community, which we have our own needs. We have followed legislation very closely, and we have met with Hinchy, and Sarah will explain that. We have a Tiffins project, which may get bigger because of a UCRA grant for Tiffins, which is a surprise and delight for us. You've seen the Tiffins they came from India originally, and they're takeout containers of stainless steel. We sell those now through Housed, but we have sold them separately. We'll continue to sell them separately. We have, well, I can't even think of what we have done so much in the last couple of years. We have been at the Repair Cafe in Kingston, at Your Earth Day celebrations for 3 years running. We have given talks. That's an ongoing schedule. It's a catchers catch can. We do it when we can. We're going to be talking probably in June at the senior Woodstock senior group. We have talked to school kids. Kathy and I talked to a group of kids. Another talk was a really important talk. It happened to have taken place in Fleischmann's, but it was it was part of a larger project that an artist by the name of Christy Scheel created, which is called Atlas Watershed. And we had environmentalists from 6 categories, right? Everything from the financial problems of where you invest your money as a concerned citizen, to just people on the street, to our project. It was a beautiful, very well attended event, and it got broadcast and got written up about. So we're involved in every way we can, and the wonderful thing is, it's not a structured organization. We take on what we can do. We have meetings twice a month. We're not, I don't know, it's just a beautiful group of people trying to do beautiful things, researching, coming up with new ideas, put them on the table. Sometimes they work, sometimes they don't. Sometimes we just run with our own ideas. We're going to try to do some kind of a film event, and we're talking about that, and it's really exciting. There is an outlet that has short films on plastic. We might ask the local theaters to run little, little segments, like they used to have animation or an advertisement in the movie theater. Well, we're going to have something on plastic. We're going to be talking to Lizzie Van about possibly having a place for a new film, which we're very interested in, which is called Blue Vinyl. So we review films. So, I mean, that's a little of what we do. Sometimes we're just up to our ears, and I couldn't go to the last potluck, but one of the things that's very important to us is that we're getting so overwhelmed with the real problems of plastic that we need to have some time for settling back, if not meditation, some kind of exposure to the rest of the people in the world who are suffering. There's a lot of suffering going on because of environmental issues, and some of us get overwhelmed. So we're looking to how we can solve this together as a group, and we're looking for more people and looking for more towns. So we'd like to have certainly Hurley. We'd like to have Stone Ridge. New Paltz has its own thing. That's a whole other issue. They do great work. Anyway, have I left out something, guys?
You did. No, you're good. You're good. We don't need to give our whole life history.
I'm excited about us.
Well, I would like to just throw in there that our goal is to really educate and help people handle their life with plastics, in whatever way we can. And I'm here to present about the current legislation that's happening in Albany. We were just there as part of Lobby Day last Tuesday and running all over the map, talking to people. As Joe has said, we've met with both Michelle Hinchy and with Sarah Hannah Shrethra, and they're both co-sponsors of the bills that we sent you, that were briefly described in the resolution that we sent you. And I don't know how many of you, if you've all read the resolution.
I'm not certain that maybe we got the right thing. It was almost like a form letter where there were things highlighted. Yes. We got that, and I emailed it to everyone. Did you guys get a chance to look that over before this evening, members of the WEC? Okay, cool. Yes, so we have it.
Okay. Because what I'm just going to do is sort of tell you what it's about and where we stand in terms of getting it passed and why the urgency.
Can I just intercede? At the end of it is a list of organizations, environmental and connected to the environment, that have sponsored this. And it's quite a long list, including the town of Saugerties, but you'd be very impressed by the list because it's kind of wide ranging.
It is. Well, yeah. One of the things, okay, so this is called the Packaging Reduction and Recycling Infrastructure Act. It's a big mouthful, so we call it PRRIA, PRRIA. The numbers are S in the Senate 4246A, and in the Assembly A5322B. Now, those numbers may have changed, so I wasn't able to get the more recent numbers. We have 78 co-sponsors in the Assembly and 36 in the Senate. They are, those are both majorities, so we're very hopeful that if it actually gets to the floor, that we will get that bill passed. The bottle bill, which is the second bill, but they really go hand in hand, is less sure. So let me first just talk. I'm actually just going to read the details. These are my talking points from going to talk to people.
Excuse me for 1 second.
Yes.
I'm the secretary, but I'm missing some of the things that you're saying, so I'm going to ask you a question. How many members of the Senate are sponsoring this?
Of the Senate, 36.
Great.
And I could actually maybe even send you the names if you want. You don't need to know the names of everyone.
No,
Yeah, I mean,
Those are the co-sponsors.
Yeah, they're co-sponsors. And so that's the Senate, and the Assembly is 78. Basically, what this bill does is it establishes environmental standards for packaging. That includes that the bill will require a 50% reduction in single-use plastic use plastic packaging use over a 12-year period. The breakdown is something like 10% in the first 2 years, 20% in the next, in the 4 years. I think but on up until 50%. Remaining packaging must be recycled effectively at a rate of at least 70% also within 12 years, so that any packaging that's not considered single use still needs to be recyclable. It also prohibits controversial and polluting chemical recycling, which is getting a lot of push from the industry, from the chemical industry. They're trying to get it to count as real recycling. They're an umbrella term for a bunch of toxic technologies that are energy intensive, polluting, and generate large amounts of hazardous waste. They cannot count toward recycling targets. That may be a little bit linguistic, but and I actually I can give you clarification on all of this. I can actually send you the bill if you would like it. Okay, so that's one, establishing the environmental standards for packaging. 2, it makes the polluters pay, not the taxpayers. Taxpayers and local governments are burdened with the costs of managing packaging waste. We've talked with Jody from House, and she's tearing her hair out with all the stuff that she has to deal with. Companies that created the packaging waste problem should pay for the management of packaging waste and not the taxpayers. I'm repeating myself. Under the bill, most companies that sell goods in New York State will have to pay a fee based on the environmental standards for packaging. The fees are used to reimburse municipalities for the costs of recycling and waste disposal. A third-party nonprofit organization will be designated by the New York State Department of Environmental Conservation, the DEC, to collect and distribute these fees. So that will be a responsibility of the DEC to carry on oversight. This bill will save municipalities hundreds of millions of dollars annually. New York City spent $448 million in 2022 exporting municipal waste to landfills and incinerators in the Finger Lakes and out of state. And most of that doesn't get recycled. Companies that gross less than 5 million or produce less than 2 tons of packaging waste per year will be exempt. So it's not going to really hit the smaller businesses, which is a fear. This bill also reduces toxics in packaging. It prohibits 15, I think the number is actually 19 toxic substances from being used in packaging, including vinyl chloride, PFAS chemicals, heavy metals, which amount to, I think there are like 4 heavy metals involved, bisphenols, phthalates, and formaldehyde, much of which most of us didn't even know is in the packaging of the things that we buy. After that, there's a process to possibly add to the list over time. You know, as things come up, they can be added as an amendment. The bill also makes packaging safe, thereby making packaging safer for consumers by eliminating and forbidding these chemicals. The chemicals are endocrine disrupting, carcinogenic, and otherwise harmful to human health. In addition, the packaging bill does not put the packaging industry in charge, which is what had happened with it last year. Governor Hochul wanted, representatives of the chemical industry to be, and the packaging industry to be the managers of the bill. It includes reduction and recycling requirements in the law, does not include major loopholes. It maintains strong oversight of the packaging companies. It establishes a new office of Inspector General who will monitor the program. So it's got a lot more teeth than anything that's happened before. State support. The bill has state support. The Department of Environmental Conservation Solid Waste Management Plan, another mouthful, supports the restriction of single-use products in favor of reuse and refill systems. The Climate Action Council's scoping plan calls for the state to phase out single-use packaging to meet our climate and environmental justice obligations under the CLCPA, Climate Leadership and Community Protection Act. So, oh, and also the municipalities that have passed resolutions in support of the bill include, oh, this is just to talk about the resolution. New York City, City of Rochester, Albany County, Tompkins County, the Village of Larchmont, and the town of Poughkeepsie, and there's several others subsequent to that. Also, the City of New York strongly supports the bill.
Sarah, is this a presentation that you're reading from now?
I'm reading from it because otherwise I wouldn't remember all these details.
No.
And
Can
I
you
could probably
send it?
send you a copy. Yeah.
That'd
Yeah.
be great.
And
Yeah.
who would I send that to?
You can send it to me or all of us.
And you are Miss-
If you-
Michael.
If you send it to the WEC, to WEC, they have an email address.
on
then
the town website. Okay.
Yeah, and
That'd be
then
great, thank
it'll
you.
get
Then
distributed.
you'll all have it. That's
Yeah.
great. Yeah, that's
Right.
great because it's a lot of stuff.
Yeah, I'm trying to
Okay.
take notes and I'm overwhelmed.
Oh, it is. It is. Yeah. No, I mean, this is thanks to the work of actually Beyond Plastics, that they've really been involved in tightening up this bill. The second bill, which really goes hand in hand with this bill, is the Bigger, Better Bottle Bill, which really is kind of a model for the national bottle bill that is languishing in the federal house, or both houses. And it has less support. I don't think I have the numbers on who's co-sponsoring, but it has fewer co-sponsors. The numbers for this bill, it's called the Bigger, Better Bottle Bill, as S237B for the Senate, and Assembly is 6353. What this bill does, the original bill, which we're all familiar with, was adopted in 1982, and it hasn't changed since. And we've had the same 5-cent, refund or deposit on every bottle that is covered by the bill. So it's time to modernize. One, it expands the existing container deposit law. It will put deposits on wine, liquor, hard cider, and most non-carbonated beverages, including sports drinks. It would recover approximately 5.5 billion valuable recyclables from the waste stream each year. It would raise the deposit from 5 cents to 10 cents. And it raises the handling fee, which is what the redemption people get. It would raise it from 3.5 cents to 6 cents per bottle. So that's the thing that supports the redemption centers. I think one of the things that would be important would be for us to really support the redemption centers in our county in terms of, because they've been struggling. And just to make a point, when Michigan raised its bottle refund to 10 cents, the return went up to 90%, which is extraordinary. Right now here, I think it's around 60% return, maybe not even that. Because I think people are getting less,
Sarah,
Mhm.
I think I can speak for everyone. I'm sure that we support sharing this with the governor. Could you just let us know what you would like WEC to do? Could you just clarify
I would,
what you would
what
like us to do?
what we would love to have you do is to just make a resolution, and we sent, that's the resolution that we sent to you. All you need, it was designed by Beyond Plastics. Just put the name of your group, of your group, or else you can pass it on and bring it to the town. And I don't know what the situation is with the town board, but if they would pass it, and then it would get on to the governor and so on, it would be
We
very.
have a town board member here in attendance tonight, Laura Ricky.
Laura, right, yes.
Yes, and I'm very,
So-
if I may say, I'm very interested, and I would love it, Ray, when you get the thing that Sarah was reading from before, I think if we can send the proposed resolution as well as the background information that Sarah read, that would be very good for the town board to see.
I
Yeah,
think
WEC has a copy of the
it was sent.
resolution.
It was sent by Aaron.
Yeah.
And I
So-
received that. I have a copy of the resolution, but as Sarah was reading off what she was reading,
It's-
it was a nice summary that I think if that goes hand in hand
Yeah.
with the resolution, I think it will help. And I think it sounds wonderful what you're doing, but you're not looking for support for the bottle bill. You're just looking for support for the first.
Right.
Well,
Yeah.
model bill is included in, because that will move people forward. If they see that they're getting support from small towns and other people, the fact that it's happening through the town, you know, instead of us little smaller groups elsewhere. I mean, we're important too, but for instance, Ulster County just, they haven't, I'd have to check whether they actually signed support for the bottle bill. But anyway, they did sign support for the Packaging and Reduction Act.
But
Sa-
Sarah, they're
Sarah,
asking.
Sarah, thank you for making that easy for us by typing up that resolution to where we just have to plug our
Mhm.
name in.
That
Because
was-
normally we would have to write the resolution to
Yeah.
go along with it.
Yeah,
And
we have it right here. Thank you very much.
Well, that's
I
thank
like
you to Beyond Plastics, really, but they were great. That's they sort of set the tone, and they also have the knowledge that we don't have as how to go through the formal processes. So that would be great. Well, I'm happy. I'll send you this. You know, I'll
Yeah.
you send it
I'd
to
like
me.
to say something.
Yeah,
else.
you can, and we can get it to Laura. You can just send it to WEC and we'll get it to the town board through
Great.
Laura.
Great,
Yeah.
great. Yeah,
Now-
I'll give you all the information.
I'd like to give another plug for it. It's just something nice to know. There were like 4 or 5 other, maybe, what is it now, Sarah? It might be 5 other states in the country that have the kind of bill that we're talking about. And New York's will be the strongest.
And we become a model also for the federal government
Right.
as with the
Right.
bottle bill. I mean, there are only 9 bottle bills across the country anyway. At this point, there are only 9 states with bottle
Wow.
bills.
Amazing.
That's surprising.
so
Yeah.
does anyone want to make a movement that we vote on this, on writing this resolution? All in favor of
Yeah.
WEC members?
WEC members, okay, so do we want a motion, Ray?
What's the order, Robert or Ken?
Well, I'd like to discuss it a little more and just take a closer look at the letter and just tighten up the language if we're gonna vote on it to send to the board. So we could vote at our next meeting, but I think we just need to tighten it up, that's all.
Okay, I'll get the information to you.
Thank you.
Mhm.
Yeah, Chairperson Ray, if I may.
Yes, yes, Laura.
So, okay, thank you. So when I looked at what I was sent, it did just talk about the one bill. And since I think you would like us to support both bills, I didn't know if you had verbiage to support the bottle bill because it looks like,
I think it's
I'll look.
included in the,
Yeah, I think it is included.
the resolution.
Mhm.
okay, because I only saw one set of numbers, I think.
Right, but here, it says like, New York's returnable containers should be modernized to reflect the expanded market beverages, and the deposit beverage container should be increased to 10 cents. That's
Yeah.
part of this.
Yeah, yeah, I
Oh.
think they didn't put a whole lot of, detail. They left it fairly open, but the support is clear. What you're supporting is very clear.
Yeah.
I mean, I can
well-
send you bottle bill numbers too. if you
Well,
want.
that would make it more clear, because when I looked at it, I saw the one set of numbers, so that's clear. If what got sent, and it's all up to the WEC. I am not a voting member of the WEC.
Right.
I'm a guest. I'm not a voting member, but if the WEC were to so choose, I think it would be clear what we're supporting if both sets
Yeah,
of
I
numbers.
can, I mean, I can give you the numbers now, but I'll put
I
them.
think that in writing would be great, and then we can share that and everybody can read it and be ready to go.
Okay,
Thank you. Thank
Okay.
you so much, Sarah and Joe.
Yes,
Yeah.
Robert, were you indicating you wanted to say something?
No, that was just a thumbs up. Agreeing with Susan.
okay.
We didn't introduce Lisa and Kathy, who aren't just sitting in there, really very important to this whole process here.
Great.
Okay. Great.
Uh,
So can we be excused?
yes, you can be excused. Thank
Yes,
you.
let's,
Don't forget to brush your
Hey.
teeth before you go to bed.
let's
Thank
move
you.
on to the next agenda item.
Thank you very
Thank
much.
you.
So much.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you for what you
so
Thank you so
much.
much.
Thank you for all the work you're doing. This is great.
Great.
Yep.
So next on our agenda is the pollinator pathway. We talked about it briefly at our last meeting at the town hall. Did everybody get a chance to sort of look that over?
Here's another.
Yeah, there were two words that I didn't like. But
Okay.
I don't see the copy of it here. In section 3, there was the
Uh-huh.
word practicable.
Yes,
I didn't like that word.
interesting. Let me
Yeah.
get there.
How
Let
about
me open it up.
What, Bob?
How about feasible?
Yeah, I thought it gave too much wiggle room. Like how do we determine, who determines and how do we determine what's practical? Practical, I felt like more wiggle room than some other words.
Yeah. Where is? Sorry, I have to.
Trying to find our copy of it. Hang on.
I'm looking for. I have to go to my sent email. Come on, I just sent it to all you guys today. There it is. Okay, got it. Somewhere.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that was one of those attempts to address notes from other people that were vague.
I know.
About they thought the reach of the thing was too, and so it was like, okay, because somebody was like, well, what if they can't? What if it did? What if it does?
Yeah.
And so
I figured that's
using the word practicable seemed
feasible
within reason.
See, any of those words, where possible, if you feel like it, on a nice sunny day. So that was and in paragraph 4 there was a word similar to that, and Michael printed it out and we both reviewed it, and now we can't find our copy, so I'm trying to find.
Okay, paragraph
the 4th one uses, I think, the word if possible, something similar to practicable.
Okay, let's see. Where possible. It's the one about
Yeah.
she'll leave the fall leaves on the ground.
Yeah.
Where possible. Well, I know what that's about. It's you can't always leave the leaves because they become like a slipping hazard. Is my guess. The leaves can become very slippery.
Yeah. So I mean, why can't we say that? Do you know what I mean? I think like if you leave it so open-ended, when possible, does that mean when they're not too deep, when they're not too slippery, when there's not a party going on? What does it even mean?
You can say we're safe.
I like that better. Yes, Bob, that does it. That answers the question of slippery.
So that's paragraph 4. Paragraph 3
where practicable.
Practicable. Well,
Well, and I know that's
word, Bob.
I know what that's about. It's because that one has to do with include native plants throughout the
Yeah.
growing season.
Yes.
And sightlines and blah, blah, blah. And sometimes you can't.
Well,
and
hang on one sec. Peter Wortman is here tonight, and he is possibly practicably interested in joining WEC, and he happens to be a writer. And I'm wondering maybe if Peter had a word that would replace practicable.
I might have to see it, although I entirely agree with what Robert said. Like, if you can just say you want to do that unless it causes a hazard, when it's safe, that sort of covers
Well,
all.
that covers paragraph 4, but paragraph 3,
what is this? What is the sentence you're working on?
Okay, so this is the whole thing. I'm going to start at the top, and then I'm going to skip to this this particular paragraph.
Great.
Now, therefore, be it resolved that the town of Woodstock is hereby declared a pollinator-friendly municipality, and shall encourage and establish host plants, nectar plants for local pollinators on all appropriate town-owned properties. The town board will accept recommendations from the Environmental Commission and/or the CSAC, the CMO Stewardship Advisory Committee, regarding which properties are appropriate, and decide by vote based on said recommendations. This is such an incomplete sentence. Where practicable, shall take measures to restore and increase habitat to include native plants with blooming throughout the growing season, with the aim of establishing plants to provide pollen and nectar on appropriate town properties and along town roads. And I think what where practicable means, it's also like sometimes it's overly burdensome to try to remove all the invasives that might be there, or there are sightline, although they go on later and mention sightlines. I wonder if you just sometimes where practical, in a way, practicable almost sounds like overkill to me. You're saying you're going to take measures to do this. It doesn't mean you're going to do it everywhere.
Right.
And later on they say, except as necessary to maintain sightlines.
So that already establishes.
I almost feel like you could get rid of where practicable.
That makes sense. Are you able to put that up on the screen and see what it would look like?
Yeah,
let's see if we can put it up on the screen and take that sentence out and see
what
it looks like.
You're asking me, the
host,
person who knows nothing about Zoom. Let's see.
Is there a share?
I find that hard to believe, Ray.
I really don't ever do this stuff. Somebody else handles it, and then I just talk all the time. That's usually what happens. No.
Do you have a share button on your top?
I have a share screen.
So click on that, and then click on the email or the document that you're reading.
Well, one participant share at a time. Okay, that's fine. Share screen. And
then click on the screen that you're looking at. The document.
Okay. Here. Did that do anything? I'm on it.
No, I don't see anything.
Files.
Did you click share screen? If you
I
bring
did.
up what you bring up what you want to share, and what did you say you wanted to share? When you click on share screen, it's a green button. For me, it's at the bottom of the screen.
Yeah, I clicked on that, and then this option came up of what I want to share.
And I normally just pick everything. I say share the entire computer, and then whatever I'm showing everybody sees.
Right.
Okay. Basic. Whiteboard. I get desktop.
Yes.
Just say in section 3, it begins with where practicable. But if we would say the town shall take measures to restore and increase habitat. It's not saying that it's going to increase it everywhere or that it's going to do it. We're taking measures and it's establishing that we're trying. So it's not saying that it will be 100% or that it will always be true, but we're taking measures to restore and increase habitat. Why do we have to say we're practical?
Yeah, I agree. It's, I think
Why
it's
don't we
over.
just take that little phrase out and
I
start with
I
the-
would too. I would too. I
I
think
would
it's
just say,
overkill.
we shall take, or measures shall be taken to restore and increase.
So strike it.
Just
I mean,
strike it. right?
You already have an enormous amount of wiggle room once you say measures shall be taken.
Exactly,
Right.
exactly.
Peter, exactly. Yeah, let's just strike it. Does anyone disagree with striking that
No,
paragraph, that phrase?
no.
Okay, and then in section 4, where it says, shall leave the fall leaves on the ground where possible for overwintering. Why don't we say measures will be taken to leave the fall leaves on the ground? It's more positive and proactive than where possible.
Yeah, that's fine.
Use
Or,
the same
yeah,
language.
well, is it where possible or where appropriate?
Well,
Would
the
where
only problem-
appropriate be better?
That appropriate does the same thing. It
Okay.
leaves, it's saying like, then someone can say, I don't think that was an appropriate spot. But that was
Yeah.
the one where Bob had suggested that rather than where possible, where safe for.
Yeah. I think, Susan, what you just said works better. Shall take measures to. It doesn't mean in any and all circumstance. It just,
Right.
you're going to take measures to.
Yeah, I think that works better, because if we were to say leave fall leaves on the ground, measures will be taken to leave fall leaves on the ground for overwintering insects instead, because otherwise if we say we're safe, it would be we're safe for overwintering insects, but
Yeah.
that's not accurate.
And the other thing is they have a clarifying sentence at the end of that paragraph, which I think makes it clear the town board will communicate these areas
Yes,
to the department that maintains these areas.
exactly. The
So,
maintenance department.
You're
Yeah,
specifying certain areas.
Yeah.
So yeah, I agree with you about that. Yeah.
great. Thank you. Does anyone disagree with saying measures will be taken to?
Nope.
Instead of where
No.
possible and appropriate and all that? Okay.
Yeah.
And great.
I'm going ahead and putting it in here so I don't forget. Although our excellent note taker.
I'm not as good as I was a week ago.
With his neck break. Laura Ricky, I have a question for you. One of the people who wanted to join tonight asked me why our agenda and Zoom link aren't more available to people interested. Who is responsible for posting agendas? Is that something that's ordinarily done?
Well, that's a good question. The town board meetings do have agendas posted. I'm not
Right.
aware of other committees. You're a volunteer committee. I'm not aware of any volunteer committee who's posting their agendas. I'm just not aware of it. The town board posts agendas, and there's a spot on the town website, TB. If you look on the left-hand navigator, is TB
Yeah.
documents. That's where the
Right.
town board posts agendas.
But not the committees.
Well, I've never seen a committee do it.
Planning board and the ZBA post agendas.
Do they post it in their page on the website, Ken?
They posted in the calendar.
So if you go on the town calendar, you can click a button and you can find it.
Yeah, I mean,
Oh.
the planning board and the ZBA agendas are there. The
So
problem
we
with the
could-
WEC is we don't have agendas until about 4 o'clock in the afternoon before the meeting.
Well, that a lot of times, actually, that's not totally fair. That's my fault. Aaron usually sends them out like on a Thursday. But as we are currently sort of rudderless, it becomes this thing of who's going to do it? Are you going to do it? Am I going to do it? Who's going to do it? And it
So
becomes a-
theoretically, though, Laura and Ken, if we were to give an agenda to Melanie and ask her to put it on the calendar, that could be done. But it would, we would give it to Melanie.
Yeah, theoretically, I just went to the planning board and sure enough, I saw it. And if you wanted me to share my screen, I could show it to you, but I don't want to.
No, no. Okay, so then we're gonna
But-
work on doing that for our next meeting.
Yeah, okay, but I did click. If you just go in the box of the date and I clicked on planning board because it's the hot spot,
Yeah,
there the agenda was.
There is one other little bit of language in this thing. And now I'm not gonna, I think it's in paragraph 9.
mm-hmm.
Ellie Reese had made
Oh,
a
yeah, yeah. in blue.
sidebar comment. She had put it
Mhm.
as a, it's almost functions like a footnote in the PDF document.
Yes.
And I sort of feel like, I don't know if that information belongs in the resolution about how much this costs. That's more like to say to the town board, just FYI, here's what the average cost of that is for you to think about while you're getting ready to vote on that. So that information seems like it could be included in the email that we send to the town board when we attach this document. Laura, do you feel like that's?
Well, hang on just one second. I think you bring up a good point, Ray. In the sentence prior to the blue area, that's the parenthetical area.
Yeah.
It says the pollinator-friendly species and will consult with an ecological landscaping professional for guidance. But then later it says when a landscaping professional is needed. I think we should take out will consult with an ecological landscaping professional for guidance and just keep in when a landscaping professional is needed. Or
What if we said may consult, not will, like they have
I
to,
don't think
but
we
may.
can tell the town that they have to hire a landscaping.
No, well,
consultant.
that's why I'm saying may.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's
Yeah.
not
So
a
the may consult.
imperative.
All right,
May.
let's do that, even though Ellie's telling us how important it is. Or we could even say that are encouraged to. But
Well,
we can't say will.
sometimes you might end up in a spot where you think, what on earth can grow here? It doesn't get a lot of sun. There's this,
Right.
that, and the other. What's going to thrive? And whereas a landscaping architect or a professional could tell you, oh, well, there's, bluebonnets and
Yeah.
what's his face wart that I can't think of right now. And,
So would we want to say may consult with the landscaping or encouraged to consult with an ecological landscaping professional for guidance as needed, so that we can take out that extra sentence?
I think we say may consult. I don't
With
know.
an ecological,
When
okay.
let me start at the beginning. When landscaping will choose the maximum number of pollinator friendly native species, including herbaceous plants, trees, and bushes, with a goal of 50 to 75% pollinator friendly species.
And may consult.
I would end that sentence there. Species,
Yeah.
period. If needed, the town may consult with an ecological landscaping professional for guidance.
And
Yeah,
then
you don't need both.
Yeah, you don't, 'cause
you're
then
saying
the
it
next
twice.
sentence would be when a professional is needed, the town board will accept recommendations from WEC.
Yeah, I think
So-
I think we cut the first one, keep the second one.
Yeah, that's what I think. I don't think we need that whole sentence. Yeah, get rid of that sentence, and then when a landscaping professional is needed, the
Yeah.
town board will accept recommendations.
Yeah.
Okay, good. That solves that problem.
Yeah.
Anyone see anything else in this resolution? I thought it looked really good.
Yeah, I did too. There were a few times when I'm reading it where it felt like overkill in some of the language, but I know that is arising out of all the cooks in the kitchen.
Yeah, I think so.
And people desperately trying to hit everybody's hot button issue. So I think that's just what
We
happened.
got some great issues in there without putting the town in a bad position.
So too, and I know Laura worked on this very hard, working on the language with this, and working with Georgia Asher on it, and Aaron and Ellie and
Yeah.
somebody else's name was in there, and I think they did a fabulous job.
Yeah, I think other than, and then we would take out that blue section where the parenthetic section.
Yeah,
is.
and I would just put that in the email, because your brain just goes, because all of a sudden you're talking
Right,
about
right.
something that doesn't go with the
Yeah.
rest of
It's
it.
not a resolution, it's just someone's
It has
opinion.
nothing, it's just to like, FYI, if you're
Yeah.
looking at a landscape professional, here's what they, because you can
Yeah.
consult with them. You don't have to have them come up with a whole plan.
Great.
You could
Great.
just consult with them, and they give you a list of plants and figure out where you're going to do them.
Okay.
So do we feel as if we can take a vote on tidying this up and getting this off to the town board?
Yeah.
What say ye?
Are we
Bob?
allowed to take a vote on camera, Ken?
As long as your face is visible, right?
Oh, right, okay.
You're
Can't
muted.
mute, Ken.
You're muted. We're missing all your words of wisdom.
Yeah, I mean, if everyone's in agreement, then let's take a vote and move it on.
All right.
Okay.
All in favor?
Well,
Right,
Laura-
Laura has a
if
question.
I could
Laura.
just talk for a moment. My understanding of the law as it is that if you have a quorum in person, then people that are on Zoom are voting. And I don't know if that matches for all the boards, but you don't have a quorum in person because everybody's on Zoom, and the law as it stands today. So
But what did you
even-
guys do during COVID?
the law was different during COVID, because in COVID we had to be.
Okay.
We had to be on Zoom, but when we
So-
came out of COVID, my understanding,
Is
I
it-
could be wrong. You could all vote and see if anybody says, hey, wait, it wasn't valid, and then make you vote
I
again.
just feel so bad. They've been waiting since June, and I just want to
Not only voting on the resolution, you're just voting to send it to the town board, saying
Yeah.
the language is ready for you to vote on it.
Well,
Yeah.
and that's fine, and I'll be fine with it. Believe me, I won't be the one standing up to say, hey, wait a minute.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah. Well, I know Aaron was worried about it and said we shouldn't vote on anything, but I don't know when the next time is that we're meeting.
Let's vote on sending it to the town board.
Right.
Okay, I'm in favor.
It's the town board that makes the final decision on this.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
you're just
I
writing up the
move that
language.
we accept the resolution with the 3 changes that we recommended and pass it on to the town board.
I second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay.
You
I
know?
will clean up the language. I will write the email and send it along.
Okay, let's move on.
Let's move on. Okay. Close that. Oops, sorry. Yes, save. Now I can't find
I
anything.
do have a small update about the Earth Day concept of joining forces with the
Fabulous.
Stop Woodstock National.
Okay.
So we had our steering committee meeting today, and they voted to not join forces, and the reason made sense to me. They said that if and when WEC is asked to give a recommendations on the development on the Woodstock National Xena development, that if we were to partner, if the town Earth Day is partnered with a stop development organization, then we could have some legal liability when we give a recommendation. And so the whole group voted against joining forces.
It makes sense to me, and we brought that up at the last meeting. It seemed to overly
we all had a
seemed
little
to
bit of a
politicize.
concern. Yeah. So we were worried.
So
we're
given that,
back to,
do we still want to push it back? I thought Robert's idea of doing it in June or July was actually good, especially given June, I think is what we were talking about, especially since the community center is booked through May 18th. And we can't get in there.
So is there no other spot where we, like, what about the municipal building? I mean, is there any other, to me, like all these, like even the people tonight, the plastic group said, you know, we've been at your Earth Day for 3 years and people expect it on Earth Day. It will be very challenging to get legislators to come in the middle of May or June. If
Well,
it's not really.
the problem is now we are at the beginning of March.
No, I know.
We have done no planning. And yes, Laura.
So two things. One is if you had a different municipal building, I think the town hall would be the other place to look. You're totally right on about the fact that Earth Day is April and you're already into March. So I'll let you guys decide that. All I'll say is that town hall, if I were picking another venue, I think not the community center because it's booked. I think the town hall could be a good venue. I will tell you a lot of key people that you would want to invite are some of them are on the ballot in the primary. The primary is happening in June. And some people, I don't expect Michelle Hinchy is, but I do know that Sarah Hanna will be campaigning because anyway, that's the prediction. So that is a good point when you get close to June. People, you know, there's a primary in June. If they're on the ballot in the primary, you can expect them to be careful about their time.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that, you know, there's an appeal to it being an Earth Day event, and it's hard to sell an Earth Day event on its own in June or July.
Except for we have done it before.
We mentioned before with Sarah Yanosh at the last meeting, June is tough. Like we're hoping to do our walk on June 8th, our walkathon, but June is tough. Like that's the day for Woodstock Day school's graduation, for example. Then you have onto your graduation. You have, you know, a lot of weddings and things in this and graduation parties in June. So I guess the first thing we need to decide is it possible to do this on Earth Day? Let's vote on that first.
Let's don't vote on it. Let's don't vote on it, whether it's possible.
All right, let's decide that. Let's decide that first.
Let's talk about what is feasible.
All right, let's talk about what's feasible.
Who's going to spearhead this? Because I'm leaving April 1st, you know? So, you know, and my husband's getting CAT scans and I'm getting blood screenings and who's, you know, so I know that we had one year in August and it was a huge hit. And I know that was because of COVID, but that they had one in August once. I mean, I'm worried at this point that people are going to be committed to other Earth Days.
Yeah, I guess one of the things that Erin had said was that most of the people who were there last year have already contacted her to say they wanted to do it again. Is that accurate or am I?
She said a handful, like the person who is with the library who did a reading.
Yeah,
reached out, and there was a beekeeper who reached out.
Right, and that it wasn't like everyone reached out.
No, but
let's be honest. You know, I'll say the point out loud. Maybe we should skip this year.
No, I think we should do something. It would be so sad for Woodstock not to have it.
I understand that, but we're spread pretty thin. I'm just
either that, or maybe have a theme Earth Day, like getting ready to put your gardens to bed, and have like recycling and people and have.
I mean, here's what I can do. I can. What am I doing tomorrow? Hang on. Let me look at my calendar. Hang on.
Sylvia Bullitt is doing on the eve of Earth Day on that Sunday night. She's doing something called World Peas, and she's doing like plantings with the whole community group where everyone's planting their peas.
Well, what I could do is send out just a global email to everybody on that Excel sheet that Erin has.
And Linda Lover points out, thank you, Linda, the youth center does their cleanup town day, which is why, you know, another reason why we tried to align with all the kids coming in to do the cleanup.
And when is that?
And Sarah says it would be tragic to skip.
Yeah, we're not gonna skip Earth Day. I just don't know if we can get it together by April.
Laura, what are you thinking?
Yeah.
Well, two things. So first of all, Ray, I thought that you would, and I'm so sad you're not going to stay. I know you got things going on, and anyway, but I'm so sad about your end date on the WEC. But I thought it was going to be after Earth Day, not April 1st. So
it was going to be originally. We talked about this almost 3 weeks ago. Since that time, this thing came up of we're going to push it back to June. So now I feel under the gun to get this organized. This is the perfectionist in me having a panic attack that I'm going to try to get something going by myself in
Let it go.
3 or 4 weeks.
Yeah.
So what I can do though is send out an email. And it's also coming out of that I'm spearheading the composting thing, the pollinator pathway thing, and Earth Day, and dealing with all
and you community thermal.
So,
you're also on community thermal.
And community thermal.
Yeah.
So thank you.
But let me just finish if I may.
Linda, when is the town cleanup? When are Linda Lever? Do you know what day that is? Is that the Sunday or the Monday?
I think it's the youth center has a Facebook page, and I think it's on there, and I think it's either the 23rd.
Okay, because Earth Day falls on a Monday this year.
Yeah, and we were talking about
it's on their Facebook page, the Woodstock Youth Center Facebook page. Yeah,
okay.
I think it's the 23rd or the 22nd.
And we were talking about doing Earth Day on the 20th if we were going to do it in April, which is a Saturday.
Mm-hmm.
What I can do is create an email tomorrow and reach out to everyone that's on that list and say, do you want to participate? But here's what I'm unclear on. People come and they set up their own tables and their own booths, but what does the WEC do? I mean, do I need to plan to have music there and food there and decorations there, or does everybody take care of themselves and we're just the host?
So
no food.
What we did last year, I worked with Aaron on it last year, and we had like some cardboard containers for the water, just like in a basket. It wasn't really any food. We had the library in the back room, and then all the booths. All we did was we set up the tables in a perimeter around the room, and then Laura and I helped make posters, which we hung outside. But really, there wasn't, in terms of our actual work, it was really the participants. And if we reached out to the same participants, then they would each set up their own booth, like the plastic people, Complete Streets, Home Share. Each group set up their own table, and we put them in a perimeter around the room.
Linda, if this cleanup is happening on April 20th, will our having Earth Day on April 20th conflict with that, or will they be beneficial?
That was what happened last year.
Yeah, they do it together. They usually do it together. The kids clean up, then they come up. Well, what they did last year is they came over to
after they did the cleanup, they came over to Earth Day.
Yep, and the
why? Go ahead.
Ravensbeard, I think it was, had the animals, the birds and everything. So they brought the kids over so they could see that. I mean, that was beautiful. It was a really,
we had Ravensburg.
Yeah.
And it would be held inside the town hall.
Inside the community center. So where would we host it?
The town hall.
Ask if it's available.
Go ahead.
So besides the booths around, the other thing that was coordinated was there was a list of speakers. And Alex, who wasn't chair on that day, however, she had a presentation that was all prepared. So Alex, I think, kicked off the presentations. Michelle Hinchy spoke. Our county executive came in and spoke. Different people. So there was a list of people that spoke. I think John Hepner very likely would have spoken. So there was a list.
No, it was the person who is now our county exec spoke. Yeah, her name escapes me. Who is it?
I don't know where it's going. I get Jen Metzger.
Jen Metzger.
Yeah. So there was a list of speakers, and then at the end of the speakers, the Ravensburg lady gave her speech. But the other thing I did want to say was, people shouldn't be killing themselves. Nobody should be killing themselves. So, and I appreciate, because you are spread thin. Erin has run this year after year after year, and I know she said she wasn't going to do it this year. I'm not quite sure why not, because she's got it down, and she does a wonderful, best ever Earth Day. So I'm not quite sure, but I appreciate, Ray, you're offering to jump in. But really, everything ought to have a lead, and it sounds like this Earth Day doesn't really have a lead, which is a little worrisome. But if people just are spread too thin and they just can't.
Yeah.
So I don't want anybody to kill themselves.
What I can do tomorrow is reach out to first thing is go over to the town hall and see if they're available, if this space is available on the 20th. That'll be the starting point. If they say it is, I will go ahead and reserve it. And then I will create a form letter and BCC all the people in one form letter so that I can get a response back about people's availability.
And I would say, Ray, that there was a letter that was sent out last year. So
yeah, and I'll just recycle that. And then I might ask someone else to help schedule the slots for the speakers to just wrangle them and help with that. And we'll see where we get with that. We do.
The other thing we did was I was Mother Earth, and we ordered seeds, and I handed the seeds out to the little
You were
children.
Great. Oh my God.
You were lovely.
Wear that costume again. That was awesome.
I think I scared the poor little children.
No, you were great. You're great.
I'd go to hand them the seeds, and they'd hold on to their father's leg,
It was great.
Ray, you're muted, dear.
That's where we are on that. I'll try to have some more. I'll send everybody an email.
Ray, I will do Earth Day with you.
Okay, great. Next up is the drinking water protection thing. Laura is working on that. We all voted last week because it's something that we've already taken place in. But Arlene pointed out that was almost 30 years ago, 20 years ago, 30 years ago, and felt it would be valuable. So Arlene and Julia Blaylock and Laura Rickey are all working on that together with that drinking water source protection grant. So I'm sure, Laura, do you have any updates on that?
Our first meeting, where the heck is it? Is it the 20th? So our first meeting is coming up, and I think it's 3 o'clock on the 20th in the back room of the community center. So really what happened is, and thank you for letting me jump in on this. But in any event, so the WEC wasn't really enthusiastic about it. This whole confusion about we don't have liaisons anymore from the town board for committees. So some things that are environmental are kind of with the town board, and some things are kind of with the WEC, and things that are environmental with the town board, I'm on. Like the community thermal is actually with the town board, but always happy to have a WEC member involved. So I'm over with the community thermal. I'm over with Julia had really wanted to do this. I talked to Larry Allen, our water superintendent. I said, Larry, do you think this is a good idea? He said, yes, he thought it was a good idea. He doesn't have a lot of personal time, but we do have a small group here. Just as you said, Ray, it's Arlene, it's Julia, it's me. And the New York State people are coming in. I would never shut anybody out of a meeting like that. If anybody from the WEC wanted to join us, the WEC did not embrace the idea, but I see value. Julia saw value. We're just going to go see what we learn. And if nothing else, we had a set of people. Jerry Washington knew a ton about a ton of stuff. Ken knows a ton about a ton of stuff water-wise. We kind of need I think Ken and I are kind of the same generation, but anyway, Jerry Washington, definitely a generation before it. If nothing else, we'll have a new generation of people that really understands a lot more about water. So if nothing else, a bunch of us will learn. What will come out of it? What Larry Allen did say was that there was some plan, water protection plan, that never got adopted. And my hope is that out of this, we'll get a plan and we'll actually get it adopted. So we'll see where it goes, but we haven't had the kickoff meeting yet. But Larry's been great about providing a lot of information. Julia had a whole bunch of information, Ken, that you had sent. So we're going to take some information, Ken, that you had that we have from historical. We have a lot of history to start with. And anybody that wants to join in, again, I would welcome anybody who wants to join in, but this is kind of with the town board at this point.
Great.
And
I just want to correct one thing. It's not that the WEC wasn't interested or didn't think it was worthwhile. It was a repetition. We felt like it was a repetition because we had already done the study back in 2012. And so it felt like we already had that mapped out of where the aquifer is, blah, 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 blah. Personally, I'm excited that it's happening. So great. We are, 3 members short, 2 members short, but if anybody
short.
misses, we're 3.
You're on mute, Ray.
Next, composting, not really anything new to report there, except for that I did email Bill and Laura about the possibility of using that 20,000 that we have earmarked and setting something up with community composting to have one drop-off spot at the municipal lot, the free municipal lot, that would be accessible on Wednesdays, the same day as the farmers market. So I've just got to go in. I've got to talk to the person from community compost, although I sort of have the numbers from the grant because the numbers were based on per composting, big composting bins. So I sort of know what the numbers are. And I think it's very doable. What's unclear to me is whether it's only open to the people of the farmers market, the vendors, to dispose of the food from there. If people from the community are dropping things off on the same day from their own homes, it's harder to control what is going in to the compost bins. So you really have to go through a process of educating people of what can go in there, because you get fined if there's X amount of plastic or things that aren't recyclable. And then they
compost.
Yeah, you have a contract, and then they won't, if there's over 4%, they just won't take it. So the thing we should really look at is, do we do a pilot program with them, or does Woodstock just have their own composting thing? And could we liaison with some kind of farmer who might want the compost for their garden? Is there a community garden or someone that would want that compost?
The Woodstock Farm Festival used to collect compost. You might want to ask them. They might have a place where they would, because I remember them collecting.
It was a guy, and I know who it was, and I can't think of his name right now, but he would come around with these little buckets, and he used to service a lot of the restaurants as well. He's not doing that anymore. But what the company that I'm talking about is the same company that does Saugerties composting over at the Saugerties transfer station. It's the exact same company. It would just be closer to Woodstock so that you didn't have to drive all the way out there to get rid of your stuff. So I will update you on that when I have something to actually update. Erin's not here, so she can't talk about climate smart, but the HVRC and NYSERDA thing, this is about remediating gases from closed landfills. And I went to that meeting. It's kind of cool. They basically put in a vent, and then you build this like 2x4 compost pile, and the vent goes into the compost pile, and it prevents the methane from going up into the atmosphere. It's super easy thing to do. So it would be free to us. They would come out and do it. They would measure, and I understand we already have a measurement, talking to Bill's, a company that measures, we don't have that much methane escaping anymore. But the other thing that's part of it is they will do a feasibility study to see whether you could put solar panels on your old, they will not pay for the installation of solar panels, but they will do a feasibility study. They will pay for that. They will give you money for that. And it counts towards, you get points towards I think a nicer to certifications and it's a $10,000 grant, no matching funds needed from the town. You don't, if you say that you're just taking part of it, you don't have to send in weekly reports on what you're doing. It's just, it seems pretty no-brainer. So all we have to do is write a letter and say we want to be a part of it. And they're going to send me, they said they were going to send us a sample letter of what it should look like if we say we want to take part. To me, it just seems like low effort on the town's part, no money required on the town part. Why not do it? And they'll also, other than solar panels, they'll also turn it into a pollinator pathway for you. So that's it. Any other business?
I got a question about.
Update on the thermal project?
We got, we're meeting, I was wrong, Pam. I thought we were meeting because we always meet on the final Monday of the month. It's on the 11th, right? Or is it this coming Monday?
It's coming Monday. Well,
This coming Monday.
This coming Monday, we got a 40 or so page report, which is the 11th. This coming Monday is the 11th. So we are meeting. We got a 40 or so page report that we're reading through. I didn't get all the way through it.
I need to back up a little bit. What are we talking about?
Oh, the geothermal, the community geothermal project.
The community thermal. And so I didn't know whether, Ray, if you had gotten through it. I haven't gotten all the way through the report yet. I'm still working on it. And I know we talked about tying in CSAC in case we wanted to do any drilling in the Como property. So my plan is just to get myself through the report before Monday and not tie in other people. Just see what the conversation is Monday.
I don't even think we're supposed to yet. They're just like, because it's all so up in the air, and when you start talking about it, people have very visceral reactions. And so I just think leave it to the profession.
Let's have the first conversation. Yeah.
But I am excited about the potential for people in the community to have a more affordable way of heating their homes.
And green.
And green. And the amount of carbon and greenhouse gases that it would reduce. It seems amazing if they can actually do it. It seems pretty incredible. And I am heartened by, is it Scott who's at NYSERDA? His feeling that we will be able to get additional monies to actually implement the program if the town decides to go through with it. He is optimistic that we would not need to bond it. If we did, it wouldn't be for the whole thing. If I understood what he said correctly at that last meeting. So
yeah, totally cool. Totally cool.
Yeah. Anything else?
I have to sign off if we're not done. I have a work phone call actually.
Okay. Do we have a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
Have a second?
Second.
All right. Thank you all for coming out. Peter, it was nice to see you again. Hopefully we're not scaring you too much.
And thank you, Ray. Thank you, Ray, for running this meeting. And she'll be here for one more meeting, it sounds like, right? Because you'll have the meeting.
Well, if I'm still involved in Earth Day, then I will probably be at a few more after that. So yeah.
Yeah. Okay. But thank you.
Right.
Thank you, everybody who is on the call, and thank you, Ray, for running the call today.
Okay. Bye,
Everybody.
Take care.